Silence builds strength because it forces you to confront the one person you can never run from, yourself. When everything around you is loud, chaotic, full of opinions, judgments, expectations, it's easy to get lost in the noise. It's easy to start performing for the world instead of showing up for your own purpose. But when you step into silence, you strip all of that away. You remove the applause, the distractions, the pressure to impress, and what you're left with is the raw, honest version of who you are. And that version is where real strength begins. In silence, you start to understand your intentions. You begin to see why you want what you want, why you fight for what you fight for, and why quitting can never be an option. Silence doesn't weaken you, it sharpens you. It puts you in a space where excuses can't survive. Because in silence, there's no one to blame, no one to compare yourself to, no one to distract you from the work. It's just you, your effort, your commitment, and your dream. And when you learn to sit with that, you develop a strength that noise can never give. Most people are afraid of silence because silence makes them listen to their doubts, their fears, their insecurities. But if you stay there long enough, something powerful happens. You stop running from those fears and start using them. You begin to treat challenges as teachers instead of obstacles. You begin to recognize that silence isn't empty, it's full of answers. It's full of clarity, it's full of lessons that only appear when the world stops demanding your attention. Silence teaches discipline, it teaches patience, it teaches self-control, which is one of the highest forms of strength. When you're working quietly, without broadcasting your every move, you learn to trust the process rather than the approval. You learn to fall in love with effort instead of recognition. And that kind of strength can't be taken from you because it was built internally, not handed to you externally. When you commit to growing in silence, you give yourself the space to fail without fear and to succeed without pressure. You allow yourself to practice, to learn, to evolve without feeling watched. And that freedom allows you to take risks you would never take if you were worried about people's opinions. Growth requires vulnerability, and silence is the safest place to be vulnerable. That's why the strongest people aren't the ones who talk the most. They're the ones who work the hardest when no one is watching. Silence builds strength because it molds you into someone who doesn't need validation to stay consistent, someone who doesn't need attention to feel worthy, someone who doesn't crumble when pressure shows up. It builds a foundation inside you that success can stand on. It builds resilience, focus, and self-belief. Silence is not the absence of strength, it's the training ground where strength is born, shaped, and refined until it becomes unbreakable. Self-focus over comparison means choosing to invest your energy into becoming a better version of yourself instead of wasting it measuring your life against someone else's highlight reel. The moment you start comparing, you start losing. You lose your direction, your confidence, your gratitude, and your pace. Comparison forces you to run a race that was never meant for you, a race where the finish line keeps moving and the standards are never yours. But when you shift that energy inward toward your own goals, your own growth, your own progress, you step into a level of power that comparison can never provide. Focusing on yourself doesn't mean you ignore the world. It means you stop letting the world dictate how you feel about your journey. Every person you compare yourself to has a different starting point, a different struggle, a different timeline. But comparison blinds you to that. It convinces you that someone else's success is a reminder of your failure, when in reality, their success has nothing to do with your potential. Their chapter 20 doesn't make your chapter 3 any less valuable. Their blessing doesn't block your blessing. Their progress doesn't slow yours down. When you really understand this, comparison loses its power over you. Self-focus is about being brutally honest with who you are and who you're becoming. It's about looking in the mirror and asking, am I better than the person I was yesterday? Not better than the person next to me. Not better than someone online. Just better than who I used to be. That simple shift changes your entire mindset. It frees you from jealousy and turns your attention toward discipline. It transforms your anxiety into clarity. It takes the pressure away from competing with others and replaces it with the responsibility of competing with yourself. When you focus on yourself, your wins start coming from effort, not comparison. You begin to celebrate the small steps, the ones nobody sees, the ones nobody claps for, the ones that look insignificant on the outside but feel monumental on the inside. Those private victories build a foundation of confidence that comparison can't take away. You stop feeling behind. You stop feeling inadequate. You stop feeling like you're running out of time. You realize that progress is personal, and rushing because someone else is ahead only leads you off your path. Comparison steals joy, but self-focus returns it. When you stop looking sideways, you start noticing how much you've grown. You start recognizing strengths you once ignored. You become more patient with your journey and more grateful for your pace. And the truth is, the more you focus on bettering yourself, the less you care about where others are in their journey. Not because you're arrogant, but because you finally understand that greatness isn't achieved by outdoing others, it's achieved by outdoing your former self. Self-focus over comparison is choosing peace over pressure, progress over insecurity, purpose over distraction. It's the decision to turn inward, build quietly, grow consistently, and trust that your path will unfold exactly the way it's meant to when your energy is directed toward becoming who you're truly capable of being. Consistency creates breakthroughs because it turns ordinary days into extraordinary results. It's not the big moments, the dramatic decisions, or the loud declarations that transform your life. It's the small, repeated actions that look meaningless in the moment but powerful in the long run. Consistency doesn't ask you to be perfect. It asks you to show up, especially on the days when motivation is gone, energy is low, and doubts feel heavy. Those are the days when your future is shaped the most. Because every time you push through resistance, you send a message to yourself that you're committed, that you're disciplined, that you're willing to do what others avoid. Breakthroughs don't happen because of luck. They happen because you stayed when others quit. They happen because you kept putting in the reps when nobody was watching, nobody was cheering, and nobody was validating your effort. Consistency builds trust within yourself. It builds momentum. It builds a pattern of reliability that eventually turns into excellence. And excellence is never a single act, it's a habit you shape through relentless commitment to your craft, your goals, and your purpose. People often underestimate consistency because it feels slow, it feels repetitive, it feels boring. But that's the point. Growth isn't supposed to feel exciting every day. It's supposed to challenge you to remain disciplined even when the excitement fades. When you keep going brick by brick, you start constructing a foundation strong enough to support the success you're chasing. And one day, after months or years of effort, something clicks, something shifts. The door that once felt locked suddenly opens. The opportunity that felt out of reach becomes possible. The skill that once frustrated you becomes second nature. That moment, the breakthrough, is the reward for every quiet day of consistency that came before it. Consistency is also powerful because it teaches patience. You stop expecting overnight results and start respecting the process. You start valuing progress over perfection. You start understanding that greatness is built, not given. Every step forward, no matter how small, becomes part of the larger story you're writing. And once you commit to consistent action, you realize you don't need motivation every day, you need discipline. Discipline carries you when motivation disappears. Discipline keeps you moving when emotions try to hold you back. Discipline turns goals into accomplishments. Most breakthroughs look sudden from the outside, but they're never sudden on the inside. They are the result of countless days no one saw. The quiet mornings, the late night practice, the sacrifices, the repetition, the failures you learn from instead of quitting. Consistency builds resilience because it teaches you how to handle setbacks without losing direction. It shows you how to stay committed even when progress is invisible. And eventually, the consistency pays you back with results so undeniable that they silence every doubt you ever had. Consistency creates breakthroughs because it's the bridge between intention and achievement, between wanting and becoming. It transforms effort into mastery and potential into reality. It turns persistence into power. It's the tool that takes you from where you are to where you're meant to be, as long as you keep showing up one day at a time. Pain becomes purpose when you stop seeing your struggles as punishments and start recognizing them as preparation. Every challenge you face, every disappointment you carry, every moment that broke you in silence is carving something deeper inside you. Pain isn't just there to hurt you, it's there to shape you, to stretch you, to turn you into someone stronger than the version of yourself that walked into that struggle. The moments that tested you the most are the same moments that prepared you for the things you're meant to carry in the future. Pain has a way of stripping away the unnecessary. It forces you to confront what truly matters. It reveals what's real, what's fragile, what's fake, and what's worth fighting for. When everything is easy, it's simple to move through life without thinking. But pain wakes you up. It breaks the routine. It forces you to slow down and look inward. And it's in that internal space where purpose begins to form, not in your comfort, but in your discomfort. Not in the smooth seasons, but in the storms that nearly took you out. When you go through pain, you gain understanding. You gain empathy. You gain strength that can't be taught any other way. You learn how it feels to be disappointed, rejected, overlooked, underestimated. And because you know that feeling so deeply, You develop the ability to lift others who are walking through the same storms. Purpose often grows from the very things you wish never happened. Your wound becomes the wisdom someone else needs. Your struggle becomes the roadmap for someone who's lost. Your story becomes a source of strength for people who believe they're the only ones fighting. Pain pushes you to grow in ways comfort never will. It breaks down the parts of you that were weak, unsteady, or built on the wrong foundation. It forces you to rebuild with intention. You stop pretending. You stop hiding. You start becoming honest with yourself, with your goals, with your life. And while the process hurts, the growth that comes from it is priceless. That growth transforms pain into purpose, because you start seeing that every scar is proof that you survived something meant to destroy you. And if you survived it, you can use it. Purpose isn't found when life is easy, it's found when life tests you. It's found when you've cried at night but still gotten up the next morning. It's found when you've been knocked down, not once, but repeatedly, and yet you still refuse to stay down. Every time you rise, you define yourself. Every time you keep going, you add meaning to your journey. Pain shows you what you're capable of. It teaches you the strength you didn't know you had. And that strength becomes part of your mission, your message, your purpose. Pain becomes purpose when you decide that your struggle will not be wasted. When you make up your mind that what tried to break you will become the very thing that builds you. When you stop asking, why me? And start asking, what is this trying to teach me? Every hardship becomes a chapter in a story that only you can tell. And when you finally look back, you realize that the pain didn't just hurt you, it transformed you. It prepared you. It pushed you into a calling greater than you expected. Let actions speak louder than announcements means choosing to build your life through effort instead of empty promises. In a world where everyone is quick to talk about what they're going to do, what they plan to achieve, and how big their dreams are, very few actually follow through. Announcements are easy. They're comfortable. They give you a temporary feeling of progress without requiring any real work. But actions, consistent, disciplined, silent actions are the true measure of commitment. They reveal who you are long after the excitement of the plan wears off. When you stop announcing and start doing, your energy shifts. You no longer waste time trying to convince people of your future. You start investing that time into building it. The people who talk the most are usually the ones who do the least, because talking becomes a substitute for action. It gives you the illusion that you're moving forward when, in reality, nothing has changed. But when you focus on the work instead of the words, you develop discipline, you develop momentum, you develop a reputation built on results, not promises. Actions also protect your vision. The moment you announce your goals, you invite opinions, doubts, and negativity from people who may not understand your path. Some will discourage you. Some will judge you. Some will secretly hope you fail. But when you keep the focus on the work and let your results appear on their own timeline, you remove the noise. You keep your dreams safe from unnecessary pressure. You give yourself room to grow, fail, adjust, and rise without feeling like the world is watching your every move. Letting actions speak louder than announcements also builds internal strength. Every small step you take, even if no one sees it, adds weight to your confidence. You start trusting yourself more. You begin to see evidence of your progress. You no longer need validation or applause to keep going because the work itself becomes your motivation. When you show up consistently, even when nobody knows, you build a level of self-respect that talking can never give you. You realize that success is not about being seen, it's about being prepared. People remember results, not promises. They remember the person who moved quietly, who kept their head down, who stayed committed long after everyone else stopped paying attention. They remember the growth, the transformation, the achievements that seemed to show up out of nowhere but were really built through months or years of silent discipline. That silence gives your actions more power. It creates an impact that words alone cannot match. When your actions speak for you, you no longer need to defend yourself, explain yourself, or prove yourself. Your work becomes the proof. Your consistency becomes the argument. Your results become the message. Announcements fade, but actions are permanent. They leave a footprint. They leave a legacy. They reveal the truth about who you are and what you're capable of. Letting actions speak louder than announcements means choosing substance over noise, discipline over attention, progress over performance. It means trusting that when you put in the work, the results will speak with a volume that words could never reach. Patience with the process is the ability to trust that what you are building today will produce results tomorrow, even when the evidence is not yet visible. Most people give up too soon because they expect success to happen quickly, as if effort should instantly translate into results. But life doesn't work that way. Growth, mastery, and achievement all require time, persistence, and faith in the unseen. The process is rarely glamorous. It's filled with early mornings, late nights, failures, setbacks, and moments when nothing seems to be moving. Patience is what allows you to keep going when the outcome is uncertain and the road ahead feels long. When you embrace patience with the process, you stop being a slave to instant gratification. You stop measuring your progress against someone else's timeline or comparing your early stage to someone else's finish line. You understand that the work you're doing, no matter how small it feels today, compounds over time. Each repetition, each effort, each disciplined step builds momentum. It might be invisible now, but that doesn't mean it's ineffective. Patience teaches you to trust that the accumulation of small efforts eventually leads to breakthroughs that feel effortless only in hindsight. The process is also a teacher. If you rush, you miss the lessons hidden in struggle. Every setback, every failure, every challenge is part of the education necessary for long-term success. Patience allows you to see that struggle isn't punishment, it's preparation. It molds your character, sharpens your skills, and tests your commitment. Without patience, you'll quit at the first sign of difficulty, depriving yourself of the growth that only persistence can bring. The process is not meant to be skipped. It's meant to be honored, because the depth of your journey determines the strength of your result. Patience with the process also builds resilience. Life will not go perfectly. Opportunities will be delayed. Plans will fall apart. Circumstances will be unpredictable. If you're impatient, every obstacle becomes a reason to give up, to lose hope, to turn back. But when you develop patience, you learn to endure. You learn to adjust without abandoning the path. You learn that waiting is not wasted time. It is an essential part of building something that lasts. The strongest people are not those who avoided difficulty, they are those who persisted despite it, understanding that the timing of their success is not as important as the inevitability of it when effort is consistent. Patience with the process is also about managing your expectations. It's about understanding that transformation is gradual and often invisible until it reaches a tipping point. Seeds don't grow overnight, yet the farmer trusts the soil, water, and sun. Similarly, your consistent actions and disciplined efforts require trust in the unseen forces of progress. The more you focus on improving each day, the closer you get to the breakthrough, even if you can't see it yet. Patience keeps you grounded, prevents discouragement, and allows you to continue showing up when it matters most. When you have patience with the process, you stop chasing quick fixes, shortcuts, or external validation. You learn to embrace the journey, honor the grind, and trust that time will reward your commitment. You begin to understand that real success is built quietly, steadily, and with persistence. Patience doesn't mean inactivity, it means consistent action with faith in the results yet to come.